Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm finally back. I'm so sorry for the sporadic postings here and there. It's just been kind of crazy in the life of Hope. I just recently sent another niece off to college, so I was dealing with that. I had a lot of family stuff going on. I had a lot of work stuff going on. I'm trying to get things in my house organized again. Doing like kind of some renovations and stuff like that. And it's just been, it's been a minute. But today I wanted to do a couple unboxings with you guys. I got a box from Amazon. It's just one book, nothing big, nothing spectacular. But I also got my second book of the month YA box. So I know I was saying that I'm not going to get any more YA boxes for a while, or was it not YA boxes and general book subscription boxes. But I decided kind of at the last minute when I heard a lot of buzz going on about the YA boxes, I was going to go ahead and do it. And then, of course, I have my regular book of the month box as well. And I signed up for Outcrit again. It's just been a hot mess. So let's just go ahead and jump into this. The first one I am going to, can't talk, open today is my one book from Amazon. Let's just go ahead and get this one out of the way. This book I actually decided to pick up because I was at Joseph Beth, that bookstore that I really love here in Cincinnati. If you'll ever come to Cincinnati, you have to stop at Joseph Beth. They're my heart and soul. They're like my little Hogwarts, if you will. So I saw a lot of people talking about this book, and I really entertained the idea of picking it up. And I was like kind of hem-hauling, and I'm like, I got 2 books already here inside my little mini haul. I'll just go ahead and wait. And then I came home and I started having second thoughts about it. And my husband was like, just order the book. Just do it. Just get it out of your hair and just do it. So that's what I did. But the book I'm talking about is the book The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. Kind of looks like this. I believe it was just released. Let me take a look. I don't think it's been out for very long because it was in the new release section of the bookstore. So yeah, it was just released in 2019. Unfortunately, it doesn't say the month it was released. But the reason why I picked up this book is it's based in the 1960s. It's during the Civil Rights Movement. And like I said, a lot of people have been talking about this book. Particularly in the bookstore, I kept seeing people come over to this book and actually pick up a copy of it. And they were talking to other booksellers about it, saying that was really good. And it just kind of hammered at me the whole entire time I was home after that night, after the bookstore closed. My husband's like, just order it because I'm never going to hear the end of it until you do. So, very nice little cover. I will go ahead and read the inside. And this is actually, it looks like Whitehead is actually a Pulitzer Prize winner and a National Book Award winner. He's been on the New York Times bestseller list, but this is loosely based on a true story. So it's as the civil rights movement begins to reach the black enclave of Frenchtown and segregated Tallahassee, Elwood Curtis takes the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to heart. He is as good as anyone. Abandoned by his parents but kept on the straight and narrow by his grandmother, Elwood is a high school senior about to start classes at a local college. But for a black boy in the Jim Crow South of the early 1960s, one innocent mistake is enough to destroy the future. Elwood is sentenced to a juvenile reformatory called the Nickel Academy, whose mission statement says it provides physical, intellectual, and moral training so that the delinquent boys in their charge can become honorable and honest men. In reality, the Nickel Academy is a grotesque chamber of horrors where the sadistic staff beats and sexually abuses the students. Corrupt officials and locals steal food, and supplies, and any boy who resists is likely to disappear out back. Stunned to find himself in such a vicious environment, Elwood tries to hold on to Dr. King's ringing assertion, "Throw us in jail and we will still love you." His friend Turner thinks that Elwood is worse than naive, that the world is crooked, and that the only way to survive is to scheme and avoid trouble. The tensions between Elwood's ideals and Turner's skepticism leads into a decision with repercussions that will echo down the decades. Formed in a crucible of evils, Jim Crow rot, the boys' fates will be determined by what they endured in the Nickel Academy. Based on a real story of a reform school in Florida that operated 111 years and warped the lives of thousands of children, The Nickel Boys is a devastating, driven narrative that showcases a great American novelist writing at the height of his powers. So, that was a lot. Obviously, there are some triggers in it. They talk about physical abuse. They talk about sexual abuse. And of course, racism is very highly discussed in this book. And it is based on a true story. I actually remember, I think it was probably about 2 years ago, that I discovered like a documentary on, I believe it was YouTube. Sorry, my neighbor is so noisy and obnoxious. I really don't like him. But anyways, this is not about the neighbor. This is about good books. I saw something on YouTube about this reformatory. It's been abandoned since 2011, if I remember correctly. And like some of the horrible atrocities that happened there, they talked to past, I hate using the term inmates because these kids were completely innocent. They, it's just a very, very rough subject in general to talk about. I'm not a fan of talking about any sort of abuse to a child. I think we all make mistakes. And if these kids genuinely made a mistake, I don't think beating the hell out of them and sexually abusing them is a justifiable reason to get away with it. I think it's just a terrible, terrible thing that happened in our history. Amongst other things that happened in our history. But with that being said, if you are interested in looking that up on YouTube, like I said, there's a lot of triggers out there. They do talk to past residents of the reformatory. They talk to employees. Just be cautioned, I guess, because it is a very, very rough subject to be jumping into. But I am really excited about this book. In particular, I'm excited that the book is written in the perspective of a person of color. I think that's really important. I don't think we have enough, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like sometimes we don't give enough acknowledgement to our authors that are people of color. I feel like sometimes they are disenfranchised just because of their skin color. But this author in particular has done some incredible things, winning a Pulitzer Prize and, oh, my neighbor, and so on and so forth, of course. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. The other book that he wrote was The Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad. Blech. Help learn how to talk. But yes, that is the first book that I ordered. And now we'll just go ahead and jump into the book of the month. So I ordered this well over a month ago, I think, and I can't remember exactly what's in this box. So I'm probably going to be genuinely surprised. And I know at least one is a book that, because I got like an email from them saying that there was a book in back order. So I know one of them is a popular book that's already out, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, this is the new Book of the Month YA subscription box. So if you guys are familiar with Book of the Month, how it works is you can get up to 3 books each month inside your Book of the Month box. There's the standard book of the month, and then there is the book of the month YA, which came out about 2 months ago. And they finally rolled out their pretty pink boxes. I was looking forward to that. So the standard is the blue box. What happens is usually around the 24th or the 26th of the month, they automatically charge whatever card you have on file with them $14.99. That $14.99 becomes a store credit. And then usually about the same time or a couple days after that first charge, they will give you details of what books you could pick out. So you can go into your account, pick out a book using your $14.99 credit, and then any additional books that you get after that is $10, up to 3 books. I really like it. I've gotten a lot of books from them. I think I've been with them for about 6 months now. And then I was with them prior to that a little bit, like sporadically, whenever a new book would come out. I can tell you, if you ever want to know sneak peeks way before they go ahead and release a list, Facebook has a couple groups out there that's book of the month related. You could actually join a group, and sometimes they'll have the list ahead of time. I'm not sure how it happens. I'm sure that, somebody has some sort of, I don't know if they're like beta people or what it is. They have a little more access than others. And then you could go ahead and kind of get an idea of what books you want. I know that I already picked out, I have a general idea what I'm going to pick out for October. So we'll see. But yeah, that's how Book of the Month works. And it's very similar to the Book of the Month YA, except for the YA is nothing but YA books. Whereas if you go into Book of the Month, just the standard blue box, most of them are adult fiction, or sometimes they'll have memoirs, sometimes they'll have nonfiction. It just really depends. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and do so. But yeah, let's go ahead and break this open. If I can figure out where the hell to open it at. Okay. I didn't think about this, did I? Because usually I try to cut these open before I start filming. That way you guys don't have to watch me struggle. I do enough of that 8 hours a day. I don't need to be doing it on camera. Alright, that wasn't too bad. So, let's pop this baby open. Ooh, I already know what the high demand book is, and I'm excited about it. So, comes like this. No worms, nothing like that. It says, read your heart out over here, and that's like super cute. Pop these suckers out. They're ungodly warm because they've been sitting out on my porch all day while me and my husband were out and about. Well, he was out and about. I was at work. We're on to set aside here. So they come all wrapped nice and pretty. And yeah, we'll just crack this open. I'm telling you guys, I'm struggling so hard today. All right. Can I get the rest off? Try not to peek so I could be excited. But I'm like killing my excitement right now because every time I move the books, I see a little bit. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Okay, and also on the back of the little thingamajig, they put share the love, get a free book for every friend that signs up through your referral link. There's my referral link. Maybe I'll put it up there someday. You also have a packing list. Try not to look at it. We're going to throw that to the side. And then, of course, this kind of sucks. So they've been kind of doing something that I'm just like bummed out about. So they used to send out these great little bookmarks. This is still fine, of course. And they used to have quotes on the back. And I always liked the quotes. I know it's corny. I know it makes me look like a baby. But they stopped doing it. And I'm so bummed because, it's just a plain blank thing. I guess it would be good if you're reading a book and you want to take like a note or something. You can probably flip over onto the back of this and take your notes as normal. So I will keep it around for that purpose. That way I'm not shuffling around trying to find a notebook. So, but the first book, I'm finally remember what it is, because this is the book that was holding up the back order. Everybody has been talking about this book. And it is called Frankly in Love by David Yoon. And it's kind of beat up. I kind of hate that. Do you see that? That kind of sucks. Oh well, it's okay. This was in the September box. This was on the September choices you could do. You can always do, you always end up picking out at least one book in the monthly thing, and then you can pick any past books that they have. And this I picked, I think just at random because it just sounded really interesting. It has Korean American representation. And it's basically this cutesy little love story. So we'll just go ahead and jump right into this here. It says, falling in love is the easy part. Frank Lee has two names. There's Frank Lee, his American name. Then there's Soon Min Lee, his Korean name. No one uses his Korean name, not even his parents. Frank barely speaks any Korean. He was born and raised in Southern California. Even so, his parents expect him to end up with a nice Korean girl, which is a problem, since Frank is finally dating the girl of his dreams, Britt means. Britt, who is smart and nerdy just like him, Britt who makes him laugh like no one else, Britt who is white. As Frank falls in love for the very first time, he's forced to confront the fact that while his parents sacrificed everything to raise him, in the land of opportunity, their traditional expectations doesn't leave a lot of room for him to be a regular American teen. Desperate to be with Britt without his parents finding out, Frank turns to a family friend, Joy Song, who is a similar bind. She's in a similar bind, let's just say that. Together they come up with a plan to help each other and keep their parents off their backs. Frank thinks he's found the solution to all of his problems, but when life throws him a curveball, he's left wondering whether he really knew anything about love or himself at all. In this moving novel debut, author David Yoon takes on the question of who am I, with the result of humorous, heartfelt, and ultimately unforgettable. I cannot read. It's been one of those days, y'all. So this is actually Yoon's first book. And like I said, I picked it up because it has the Korean American representation. I actually have an Asian mother. My mom is half Asian. She's half Japanese to be exact. And even though she grew up here in the States, her mom had some sort of, she had some Japanese cultural practices as she does. That she did before she passed away, long before I was born. So some of that stuff has kind of resonated in our family, and there's times that we discuss customs of the Japanese culture, and yeah, I could kind of easily relate a little bit to this. Thankfully, it wasn't like, I had to court somebody in the Asian community. That wasn't the case at all. But I can relate a little bit to having that expectation that you need to follow the cultures of, you got to appreciate your roots, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I am really excited about it. And this actually was the book that Book of the Month emailed me about and said, hey, your box is going to be running a little late because of this. But I'm okay with that. I'm happy with it. I'm excited to read that book. The next book I picked up that sounds really incredible. And I have to be honest, I also picked this book up because of the cover. The cover is gorgeous. Let me just show you. So it's the stars and the blackness between them. Isn't that like the most crazy, beautiful cover you've ever seen? This is also a September 29th, a Book of the Month selection. And I'm going to mess up this poor name, and I really apologize in advance. Junata Petrus, I want to say. I'm going to go ahead and hold it up that way you guys can see it. If you want to look her up, to see if, you'd be interested in the book. And I think this might be her first book, is it? Oh, let's see. Doesn't say. I'm pretty sure it's her first book. But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about this book, shall we? So, Port of Spain, Trinidad. 16-year-old Andre is heartbroken. Having just found out she's going to live in America with her father because her mother caught her and her secret girlfriend, the pastor's granddaughter. Andre's grandmother, I can't read today. What is going on? I know, I forgot my glasses are somewhere in this house. Andrea's grandmother, a dancer who drives a white convertible Mercedes and has a few secrets of her own, reassures Andrea that she won't lose her roots, not even in some place called Minneapolis. Blah, 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 blah. America have they spirits too, believe me, she tells Andrea. Minneapolis, USA, 16-year-old Mabel is staring at a picture of Whitney Houston, trying to figure out why she feels the way she feels about her ex Terrell, about her girl Jada, and that moment they had in the woods, and about the vague feeling of illness that plagued her all summer. I can't speak! Mabel's reverie is cut short when her dad announces that a friend and his just arrived from Trinidad daughter are coming for dinner. Mabel falls hard and fast for Andrea, and she's determined to help Andrea find her way in America. Never an easy thing for a black girl, as she knows. But their romance takes a turn when test results reveal exactly why Mabel has been feeling low-key sick all summer. Suddenly, it's Andrea who must care for Mabel as she faces a deeply uncertain future. Told in two lush and lyrical voices, Juanita Petrus, I hope I'm saying her last name right, Petrus debut conjures a love that is stronger than hatred, prison, and death, as vast as the blackness between the stars. So a lot of cool things are happening here. Obviously, we've got black representation, the discussion of cultures, and also queerness, which you guys know how I am. Be still my heart. I love any sort of queer representation that I get out of any sort of book. So, yes, very excited about this. I'm hoping I can read that next month. I have so many books I have to read. It's just ridiculous. Oh, now I remember this book. I remember ordering this book, and I'm excited about this too. The book that I picked up, the final book inside the box, is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. This is another book I've heard a lot of buzz about. And let's see, it was actually an August 2019 book, so I did pick something that was kind of back, I don't know, like a month before. For some reason, I couldn't fit in some of my other book box. Only let me do 2. That's kind of annoying. I don't know why, but whatever. So this one is about, let's see, what the hell? Let's just read it, shall we? Some secrets just won't stay buried. By day, 17-year-old Jew. Yeah, wait, Hope. Come on, slow down. By day, 17-year-old Joe Kahn works as a lady's maid for the cruel daughter of one of the wealthiest men in Atlanta. But by night, Joe moonlights as the pseudonymous author of a newspaper advice column for the genteel Southern lady. You never hear that word anymore, genteel. I don't like it. Dear Miss Sweetie. When her column becomes wildly popular, she uses the power of the pen to address some of society's ills, but she's not prepared for the backlash that follows when her column challenges fixed ideas about race and gender. While her opponents clamor to uncover the secret identity of Miss Sweetie, a mysterious letter sets Jo off on a search for her own past and the parents who abandoned her as a baby. But when her efforts put her in the crosshairs of Atlanta's most notorious criminal, Jo must decide whether she, a girl used to living in the shadows, is ready to step into the light. With prose that is witty, insightful, and at times heartbreaking, Stacey Lee masterfully crafts an extraordinary social drama set in the New South. Blech. I need to like take talking classes. Is that a thing? Maybe not. Okay. So I'm looking at the back here to see if... Okay, she did write other novels. I couldn't remember. I had a feeling I read some of her books in the past. She did write a book called Under a Painted Sky, which I think was the one I read and I really enjoyed, and Outrun the Moon. She was also the winner of the Penn Center USA Literary Award for Young Adult Fiction. And Lee is also a fourth generation Chinese American and founding member of We Need Diverse Books. Yes, we do. I'm going to have to check that out. I don't think I've ever heard of that foundation, but I will definitely look it up tonight. So yeah, as you guys could tell, I really went like headfirst into picking out really diverse books this time around. I know that I think we are going to be having an Asian readathon here soon. I was watching a video with Reading with Cindy, and we did actually have a conversation kind of a little bit inside the comment section of her. I can't remember. It must have been like a Q&A that she was doing. But she did bring up the Asian readathon and asked her if she was going to be reading The Downstairs Girl, and she said that was on her TBR. I'm really curious to what she has to say. I really enjoy her videos in particular. If you haven't checked her out, you should. Reading with Cindy. She's the bomb. I love her. But yeah, that was my book of the month YA box. And I kind of cheated and I went ahead and opened my book of the month box a couple weeks ago, I think is when I got it. I got that one way fast than this YA box, but whatever. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you guys are book of the month subscribers. Tell me what you've been reading lately. Honestly, I've been kind of in my own world here, so I haven't gotten too much reading done, but I would love to hear what you guys have been reading. If you've read any of the books I mentioned today, I'd love to hear your comments on them. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video with me, Hope, from Pros Before Bros, and I'll look forward to speaking with y'all soon. Bye.